Okay, so we're continuing the lecture about essays review, and we will have Alan talking about his essay and his reviews, and then the reviews he made. I will share the screen, so then we can see the...
Can I check because I didn't bring my computer.
Right. So
I can check them here.
You can check it here.
Perfect.
So we have it. We have it here. So you can scroll to your reviews and
Yes, in this case, I should speak about my
yeah.
essay.
So you don't have to talk a lot about your essay. Kind of talk about your essay in the context of the reviews that you've got. So whether they were helpful, whether they, what they pointed out, what weaknesses you had,
Yeah.
And how the counter worked. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll first start with the reviews then.
Yep.
Because they're... Well, I agreed with John's review because he was mentioning a lot of positive aspects of my essay. Also some things that I could have included. Like, for example, I think it was in the area of... Yeah, about explaining about merging consoles with mobile devices. Because as I say, it's a new concept. Yeah, it should have been better to explain it a little bit further. But based on the scope of the essay, I couldn't include too much words. That's why I just left it like in that part.
Yeah. So you could have explained a little bit more in depth.
On that part, on the merging of the consoles with the mobile devices.
Yeah.
On Magdalena's review, I also found it was really positive. She was trying to explain what was my intended audience, what was my what did I wanted to explain in each paragraph, and the organization of the paper, the language. Although she mentioned that I should put a little bit more of a research, a little bit more background research, so I can just have a good basis on what I'm explaining, which I strongly agree. And yeah, that's all I can say about Magdalena's review.
So in general, do you like reviews which point you to other work and other references, or what do you think about it? So you wrote your essay, you cited, let's say, 3 or 4 things.
Yeah, I like it.
In the review, someone says, "Oh yeah, you haven't talked about this and that and that," and they kind of give you a number of other things.
I didn't even consider that when I was writing.
I find it's very helpful because sometimes when you're writing, you just go look at one direction.
Yeah, you're too constrained.
And you're too constrained and don't want to look at other options. But then other people, they make reviews and they just give you opinions, and that's when you know that it's not like how I see it, but I can broaden my spectrum of options.
Yeah, exactly. So it can be very positive because it is something that you haven't thought of, and it kind of gives you the feedback that, oh yeah, I should look into it. But sometimes it's also missing a point. So you're trying to make an argument with a particular selection of choices of references, and then somebody else comes with another one, and you have considered it, but you decided it doesn't contribute because it's kind of more diversion. It's especially important for your master thesis, right? So sometimes you will get a reviewer say, oh yeah, why you didn't thought about neural networks? It's like, of course I did thought about neural networks, but it's beyond the scope. Like it's not what the work was about, right? The work was about this particular thing that I've tested, not about all possible things that I could have tested. So then, the fault is still yours because you should have explained in the scope and in the introduction of what the work actually is.
Yeah, so
right?
it's still a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. So you still need to fix it, but it's not like adding necessarily extra things.
Just a couple of sentences explaining why you didn't.
That's right. Yeah. So for example, if you're doing a master thesis on augmented reality, right? And someone mentions why you didn't include, I don't know, like Pokemon Go, right? Then you may say, yeah, okay, but Pokemon Go is not really augmented reality. They kind of only use it as a game mechanic, but you don't really need it. You can play Pokemon Go without it completely, right? So it is a good comment, but it doesn't mean you should include Pokemon Go. You should just explain why it shouldn't be included, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and on the counter review that Eskil did, I found that the topic here was very convincing about what he was trying to say. But he was trying to say that the mobile games have a very rich, like a plateau, not technologically, but in the way of how they produce the games, because he feels that the games are being produced like the same concept, the same thing, but different technology. And that's what he tries to explain overall the essay, that like it's what they need is like a change on perspective of the games.
Yeah.
Not on the way they implement technology, because technology will always be evolving. I mean, it's not like it's going to reach a plateau in the near future.
Yeah.
But on the essence of the games.
So all the games are kind of similar. They use the same game mechanic, and they are produced in similar way. They appeal to similar demographic, and we sort of are better at it, but we're not creative enough, right?
Exactly. We need a little bit more like a creativity boost. That's what Eskil tries to explain in his counter argument.
Yeah.
They are not bad games, but they're like the same thing all over and over again.
Exactly.
And it doesn't give you the hype it gave you years ago when you found a new game and you knew this is a new experience.
Yeah. Yeah, we have it in films a little bit as well. So there was an era of filmmakers making very clever films with very poor technology, like Star Wars, the early ones, right? They were pretty kind of cleverly done, and the technology wasn't there yet, but the movies were very engaging. They use a certain ways of telling the stories.
And I used all the ideas and only have the technology left.
Yeah, and we basically have a lot of bells and whistles. We have very good animations, special effects, but the actual storytelling, it's like not that good.
Yeah. And someone made a list of all the blockbusters that will be released this year. Out of the 50-ish films on the list, 2 of them were original. Both of them were war stories from the Second World War.
Yeah.
So all the other 48 were either sequels, reboots, or
remakes. Yeah.
Remakes.
Exactly. So that clearly we reached some plateau, right?
Yeah.
Technologically we didn't. Of course, the cinematographic quality and the 4K screens and so on, and the rendering, the special effects are amazing.
CGI
and you
amazing.
Sometimes cannot really distinguish CGI from real world, right? There was a comment I've heard. The Secret Life of Pi. Have you seen that movie?
Yes.
Do you remember the scene where the guy was with the tiger on the boat, and the tiger was very weak and kind of hungry and so on? So apparently, Indian government originally banned the movie because they thought they were mishandling the tiger.
But it was the CGI tiger.
Exactly, because they believe it was a real tiger.
It looks so real.
Yeah, because you cannot really tell, right? It's so well done.
Yeah, a lot of people who thought the same about Aslan in the original
Narnia.
Narnia
Yes.
as well.
Yeah.
Thought they actually just animated the mouth, and everything else was an actual lion, a chain lion, instead of animating the entire lion.
Yeah. Yeah, these guys actually got the Oscar for the special effects for the Secret Life of Pi, because
and the movie was really good. I mean,
it was good.
It was good. It was really like based on true story, or I don't think so.
I don't think so.
It looks too fantasy.
But it was a clever storytelling. It was a well done narrative. So
because it leaves you with the guessing, like who were the animals, if the animals were real, if it wasn't just like a illusion that Pi was thinking. Because there's a theory that says that they were persons.
Yeah.
was like the person that wanted to be aggressive and he started killing the other animals. The monkey was like a person that tried to help Pi.
Yes.
It was very
you
different.
have something to talk about, right? So it's a good storytelling if you leave cinema with that feeling. Yeah. But yeah, so games similar. We had kind of era of game making which were kind of clever, and you know the technology wasn't there, so you have to have cleverness somewhere else. And now a lot of cleverness is in the technology, not in the game mechanic or in the game itself. Which but
I mean, we still have like one game like each year that is the most, I think.
But
I
it's
think
fewer
last
and
year
fewer.
it was like the what was it, Undertale? Like success.
That's what I'm also like.
Yeah.
That's a question of mine. Are the games like becoming so technologically advanced that people have to invest more time into like creating the game in technological aspect, that they shorten the time of like thinking of how the game will be on how to make a good game?
AAA games, yes.
Definitely yes.
Yeah,
for
but-
AAA games.
But small, medium, and large games, not necessarily.
Yeah.
So,
Games,
yeah,
indie
it depends
games.
on the developers.
Yes.
It's kind of like it's
Because I understand.
a lot more secure to stick to like just do the next sequel.
Yeah.
Don't try
You're kind of reducing the risks,
Yeah.
right? And it's a more predictable process.
Yeah.
So you have a more predictable audience, you have more predictable development cycle, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So that's why, as a production,
It's a lot of stuff.
Mm.
Like,
Because-
that's why you keep having like
yeah,
Assassin's Creed number 10 or something, and Call of Duty 10.
Andromeda.
So speaking about that, have you Final Fantasy is already Final Fantasy 15?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So imagine that.
Yeah, and also Final Fantasy 14.1, 14.2,
Two.
14.3.
So yeah.
And I can say that the first games, they were really good. Still, people say they are less. But the new games, they feel like it's more CGI, more interactiveness, rather than the good storyline and good
Yeah.
storytelling. And I think, that's what Eskil tried to say in the games. Like they're liking that intellectual part, that they are trying to set it aside because there's so much time you have to invest on developing the game. The images are on the highest quality and they keep increasing. So
yeah, that's right. So the indie developers tend to take more risks, and they kind of venture into something which may flop, like which may not be successful at all. But at the other hand, they do creative things.
Yeah.
Whereas the big studios, they try to reduce risk, and they have a lot of at stake. Like if you have, what you're gonna do?
Yeah.
You're gonna risk something? No, you're gonna do something which is tried before.
game, they know they have the name of the game is already established. So they are trying just to. I played the last Final Fantasy, and it's a good game. It's good graphics, but I feel there are some parts that it's like just time wasting. This big environment where they have to drive around, and you can either drive and you're driving actually.
Yeah.
So you're waiting in the road while reaching the destination, or sometimes you can just pay a fee virtually. So I don't know. It's. I think it's just reached like a intellectual plateau in that area. At least the AAA games, like you say.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's storytelling.
And some of the AAA companies are figuring that out though, because the Activision.
I was gonna say Call of Duty.
Know about all the hatred they got for their last game. So they've answered to that and are going to put a new game in World War II again. Because that's what the gamers want. But they thought that that was a dangerous option. And that's why they always put it in the modern, now recently, and futuristic era, because they thought that was.
But there was a game like Battlefield 1.
Yeah, that was also a dangerous option, because very few games have actually explored First World War.
The First World War. Yes.
Because it's so boring of a conflict.
Yes.
And just stagnated warfare, basically.
Because they kind of like they kind of just had to use like all experimental weapons because there weren't that many like automatics.
Yeah.
So they're you can't expecting like the prone modern combat games, there you expect the sniper rifle, you expect like your
Yeah.
assault weapon and your shotgun and your pistol and your knife. You don't have all that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest
You know,
flaws with Battlefield 1.
tanks.
It's just tanks and machine guns everywhere.
Yeah,
Just-
which isn't the case.
No, it's in the actual war there were almost no semi-automatic or automatic weapons. It was just rifles.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, true.
But I think where developers should like step up their game, it's not on like console games, because console games people will always buy it because of the nostalgia effect, because I want to play with my friends, because it's a new game, because I want to see the graphics. But in mobile games, like structure on how you want to buy it. If you see that the game is like popular, maybe you buy it because you have the option. You know, like you can just virtually buy it, and it's not a big deal. I think the gameplay there, it has to increase it. It has to be better. I mean, for example, Bird, which is a new concept. A new concept because there's a game called Helicopter Game. You can search it.
Yeah, I played that a lot when I
And
was a kid.
with clicking, and it's
Yes.
the same thing.
The same game mechanic.
The
It's
same
just
game
that with the
mechanic.
screen, you can do it with your finger, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the previous one, on a helicopter game, that was on a browser,
Yeah,
Yes.
not an app on a game, on a mobile.
on the browser. Yeah, it was just clicking, and just same thing as Flappy Bird.
Yeah.
And but Flappy Bird gained it was the first one, I think, to go into the mobile area,
Yeah,
or
so
just
Yeah, that's
it's
right.
very similar with King and
Yes,
their
King.
games because
Candy Crush.
because Candy Crush is entirely based on Bejeweled,
Yes,
but Bejeweled was a browser game, not a mobile game.
that's right.
They came along and just turned it into a mobile game and got immediately, even though they did exactly the same thing.
I have you because we're kind of discussing now. So, exactly. So this transition from existing games in a medium which was different to the mobile made a lot of companies really successful. Like, and with a Flappy Bird, it was just a guy, right?
Yeah.
They actually they say he felt too overwhelmed about the amount he get.
I know. So it became, because it was like non-saturated market for existing games. So it's not necessarily new games. Like Bejeweled was, known for forever. Candy Crush, to be honest, they've done it well, right?
They have done it.
They professionally engineered the experience to a point where it was really addictive and really,
But you can't say that about the King in general, though, because
No.
Bubble Shooter was a good game before. It was addictive.
Yeah.
But then King took it up and made it into something or other.
Yeah.
I can't even remember the name of it. But that became popular. Bubble Shooter has made very little money.
No, almost none.
Yeah.
That's
Because
right.
that's again, there's a free browser game.
Yes.
So then they only converted it. They didn't make any gameplay changes at all.
Yeah. True. So, okay, so here's a question. What do you think was the solution to make the movies better? So after we discussed that the movies got kind of stagnated, what was the sort of phenomenon that changed that stagnation?
Did it start doing like the Oscars movies, or has it always been around?
Oh, around.
Okay.
Solution for the movies was just to stop caring mostly and
Is it
just
just-
make it for the general consumer. They still make money on it, but it just doesn't become popular.
Yeah, exactly. So there were a couple of stages. So first we had the movies, which were interesting.
Yeah.
Then we engineered the movies to be better engineered and more predictable, but they were not as engaging.
Yeah.
So then the movie makers had to find a way to monetize on the attention.
So they just
Yeah.
take books and make them into movies. Is that
Yeah,
what had interesting stories?
Or series.
And series,
And
exactly.
series.
So instead of doing movies, they went into TV series because then you can
Yeah.
capture the attention for longer and get revenue from advertisers, right? So advertising revenue became the main driver. right? And a lot of series were done in such a way that they have those cliffhangers where you had to wait a little bit for knowing what the next thing was, and that's where you were fed with the advertisements, right?
And they try to connect the series with the movies. Like, for
Yeah,
example,
exactly.
Star Wars, they have the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
They have
Which
different
is
animation series.
actually good.
Right now, Justice League has the background, has the Flash,
Yeah.
and has a
And
Arrow.
Arrow.
So they have
And
three
Daredevil.
three series
Yeah.
that are gaining a lot of revenue, but they're also like building up the story so that the movie is like highly expected.
Yeah.
The problem with that though is that those are actually set in separate universes. So the Flash series and the Arrow series has nothing to do with the movies.
The movies,
Nothing at all.
no.
Two completely separate universes.
So only like in Star Wars, you can say that.
And
or-
Star Wars is the thing.
and
So they had the same
They
universe.
did get rid of like.
and what about the Marvel universe? They
The
Yeah.
Marvel universe is sometimes connected, sometimes not. It
Yeah.
depends on the series and the movies. The same problem.
Similar
with DC.
theme, but not necessarily direct
Yeah.
connection. Yeah.
Yeah. So you still need to actually ask someone who's an expert on the team if they connected them.
Yes, that's true.
Most for Marvel, it's mostly dependent on who's making it. If Netflix is making movies, or if Sony is making the movies, and so on, then it's not connected to the Disney made movies.
Because of the
Because of his
IP
own-
and
issues.
ownerships. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They will have to pay a lot. To
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
connect
for
them
rights, yes,
for
that-
copyrights.
Exactly.
Um,
So the Deadpool movie, for example, Deadpool is highly connected to the X-Men in the comic book
Yeah.
universe,
Yes.
but they can't connect him to the X-Men in the movie universe because
No,
the X-Men are owned by someone else.
Yeah.
And they are also they're way in the past. Like Deadpool is just released, and
It's like how in like the Adventures they don't call them mutants.
Yeah,
When
like-
they're
yeah. But DC is a bit different. They choose to do it because DC is entirely owned by Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
So
entirely.
yeah, entirely. So they just do it because they can. They are actually building up to something. It's called Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Mhm.
You have all of these different universes clashing together in one big story. That's what apparently the fans at least are claiming that they're building up to.
Mhm.
Because they have noticed that some things are very similar to each other compared to how they're portrayed in the comic book
Mhm.
universe. For example, if you heard about the game theorists?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, theories.
They also have a separate series called the
Film Theory.
Yeah. And they did a theory on the Joker in the cinematic universe.
Mhm.
Because in the comic book universe, it was revealed that there are 3 Jokers, not one.
Mhm.
And in the cinematic universe, there's been 4 of them.
Mhm.
So he argued that 2 of those Jokers in the cinematic one was the same one, just by 2 different actors.
Right.
And the 2 others are in just separate universes.
Mhm.
And all of those 3 Jokers will eventually clash together in that Crisis on Infinite Earths.
I see.
So there's quite a lot of proof in the different movies and TV series that such an event will happen. But Marvel will never do that. DC will. That's why DC is almost deliberately making movies that some people think are horrible,
Yeah.
absolute horseshit. Because they're deliberately doing that because it will connect later on.
Mhm. Yeah, that's interesting.
Another trend I see in movies right now, they're making movies out of anime series or anime past movies. Like right now, there's a movie called Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah.
It just got released.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. Have you seen it?
It's quite
I've
good.
seen-
It's,
I've seen the previous,
I've seen the original.
the original.
Yeah.
yeah, the anime.
Yeah, which is good.
Which was good. Yeah.
Then if you see the
But
anime,
not technically brilliant.
No, it's more about like the philosophical issues.
Exactly.
rather than-
More about storytelling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
hey, the story is good. Like
Yeah.
it's interesting to see how in the future, of course, we're gonna be able to connect with computers. We can be able to enhance our bodies through technology.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like they are making it like a bigger thing because they try to make one movie. I think they're trying to make 3 movies out of Ghost in the Shell.
Mhm.
Really?
I think this is the first one.
Okay.
So if you're gonna see the movie, then go with an empty mind. Don't get the expectations of the end.
I don't actually remember the original one. I watched it so long ago that I don't really.
Yeah, it's like a computer virus gains consciousness in like the internet, and then connects to a host body, and then merges with main character to become human.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the way forward was to, like, HBO started doing original content for the network because they had subscribers, so they didn't have to create series which were generating revenue per se. They just wanted the series to be interesting enough so people want to be on their network, right?
Yeah, it's the same with Netflix.
And it's the same with Netflix, right? So we see the content which HBO and Netflix are doing is so much better to what was a couple of years ago. Like all the series which were a couple of years ago were like pretty shit. But now you have a lot of original content which is kind of driven by actual interesting things, right? And it's not oriented towards marketing or advertising. It's actually oriented towards gaining attention of the people. So I was wondering if the similar or the same or similar model could be applied to computer games. Like instead of having a studio which sole purpose is to make money on the game, how about you produce original content? Like, for example, Steam is trying to do that, right?
Yeah, and Steam is but it's also congregate and other websites with browser games.
Yes.
That is also doing it quite heavily.
Yes, exactly.
But they're buying.
I know.
so it doesn't quite work.
No. So that's the dilemma, right? So it worked beautifully for Netflix and for HBO and so on.
Like,
why it doesn't work for, because other, like, Microsoft was trying to do that, PlayStation was trying to do that.
PlayStation do that with like Play Store?
Yes. Nintendo is doing that with the
And Nintendo is the only one that seems to be successful with it.
Yeah. So why is that? Like, because it shouldn't be too hard to create a good original content for games too. But somehow that model doesn't really work, right? Yeah.
The thing that people want to in series, they want to see it. They like to, like, it's not like they want to play it. They just want to see it, and they want to have their own perspective, opinions, and like get into the world, but not like in a game where you just basically. I mean, you like the story.
Yeah.
You like to see the story. Sometimes some people skip it, or they just go to play.
I mean, is it like because they're doing the same, using the same model as series or as the HBO and stuff? But again, that's if they aren't succeeding, it's probably down to the medium then, or it's maybe they don't get the same reach, or they have the same amount of subscribers, or maybe it's like you can't. It kind of depends. Like if for Sony, I'm not sure they can put out as many series as like HBO and then but maybe it's related to they still have a large back catalog that they could use. But then again, it's kind of porting all of those. But then you kind of come into like the cloud computing stuff, playing everything over the internet.
Do you think the Internet of Things has something to do with influencing and how the games or how the series are released now? Because everything is in the internet, and now all of the channels are connected into one. But in the past, there were just different channels. So gamers had their own channel. If they wanted to see their stuff, it was their channel. The series geeks, they also had their channel just to watch series. And the movie addicts, they also had their own channel. So, but right now, all of the things are connected through the internet.
They're connected. There is a lot of cross-media, things.
And Microsoft is introducing theirs now to the Xbox.
Yeah, but I don't think. I don't know. I mean, it probably boils down to, like, if you watch series, if you watch movies, you want every day or every now and then to have something new. But with games, you don't do that. No, you cannot do that. Like, you actually like playing games you played before, right? And get better at them. It's this repetibility, right? You have genres and games that you like, and you want to replay them. And you have In movies, it's more passive entertainment and it's more the novelty effect.
Yeah.
So you have to consume new stuff all the time. With games, I mean, of course, people like playing new game, but it's much slower pace,
Yeah,
right?
you can enjoy the same mechanic multiple times.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't like lose its effect.
No. The good games have high replayability. Like you enjoy replaying them again and again.
Yes.
Whereas with movies, even a good movie, sure you can watch it twice, maybe 3 times, but that's it, right?
Yeah.
You're not gonna watch it 50 times.
No.
You need to have a new movie.
So I'm saying with books because I've been listening to like the Song of Fire and Ice books.
Yeah.
And I've gone through them 4 times now.
It's starting to get tired.
No, I can't do it anymore. I know all the chapters.
Exactly. So there are media which are sort of replayable, and you kind of enjoy redoing it, and some like books or movies where it's sort of like one-time experience, and then a channel with subscription makes more sense, right? So for movies, it makes more sense to have a channel with subscription than game channel where you have, every day you have a new game to play. It's like, nah, maybe not. So people who are hooked up on the, Candy Crush, like they don't need any other Candy Crush-like games. That one is enough, right? Yeah.
Although in the case of, for example, Angry Birds, they try to get into different contexts. They try to do the Angry Birds Star Wars Edition. They try to do Angry Birds different.
It's kind of more like expansions and DLCs.
Yeah.
For sure. Same content. It's not like they change the theme, but like,
Same gameplay, different sprites, like different designs.
When I asked people, the people only cared about the new levels, not the new design. So
Yeah.
That's right.
you can always add more stuff. It's like
And
you
I'm
build
not
up-
sure. Yeah, of course, for them it was good because there was a hype around Angry Birds,
Yeah.
and they wanted to monetize on the hype.
Yeah.
But they were not really innovative. They just use movie. They use collectibles. They did kind of a Disney model, right, on monetizing on the hype that the original game generated. But possibly they did well, right?
And they more than enough money at least.
Yeah, but definitely it wasn't a long sustainable.
No. It's almost gone now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not heard.
Kids don't care about the plushies anymore.
No.
No one cares about the movie.
Yeah.
Did the movie got released or?
Yeah, last year there was a movie.
Last year?
Yeah.
Angry Birds the movie. But I haven't watched
What's it
it.
about? Like,
Angry Birds.
It's about
what
Angry
can you
Birds.
make? What can you make?
I mean,
how can you
can
make 2 hours
probably
of a
spin
movie?
it in some way.
That's interesting, but
Yeah, that's I think that was one of the main problems of the movie. It didn't become popular.
No. I mean, it is listed as one of the big releases last year for a cartoon for kids movies.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's not.
Okay.
It's not gonna be a memorable.
like something to
Yeah.
watch
It's like
again
the
and
emoji
again.
movie that they're making.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Exactly. So it's a kind of a short-term hype and it dies quickly. So. All right. So other question. And we because of the distribution channels and because of ease of getting to people, do you think the smaller developers will have it easier because you can reach 2,000 or 5,000 people who really like your stuff and then sustain yourself? Because in the past you have to be quite a big studio to reach people, and you have to have kind of this economy of scale
And connections.
and
yes.
connections and the release channels and so on. And only big games were really popular, and all the niche games were kind of really niche, right? You couldn't really live off being an indie developer.
It's kind of related to what me and Pana talked about mobile games and revenue and monetization. It's kind of you get more. You can get your stuff out there.
Yeah.
Everyone it's available for everyone.
Yeah.
But then again, so is everyone else's stuff. So you're one in a million, and
It's like trying to
Good luck.
search on Google.
Good
You
luck.
have so many options
Yeah.
that the right option you
yeah.
don't know if it's there or.
So it becomes much harder to build your audience, but maybe it is possible, right? Maybe if you have a particular genre of games and you're producing them, you can attract enough fans to kind of do that. It's similar with musicians. So you know, before you have to sign up a deal with a big label and then be promoted and so on, right? But now you can promote yourself. It's just that, it's like million other people who are promoting themselves, right?
You got SoundCloud, you got Bandcamp. You can just input your music there. But so is everyone.
Exactly.
So is everyone else.
So is everybody else, right? So it's really difficult to get picked.
Do you think we have reached like a point where everything has to be marketing? Everything has to be marketed in a way, because if you don't do it that way, no one's going to pay attention. You need something for people to draw their attention to you.
There's always marketing. You don't have to. I don't think you necessarily have to do like pay marketing companies. You can always just go on forums and
market
social
market
media.
yourself.
Yes.
There are like distribution channels you can use yourself.
But like we said before, everyone else can do that.
Yeah,
too. Everyone can go to social media. Everyone can do it. So right now it's more like in a strategy, like be controversial or any publicity is good publicity. Just watch Donald Trump. He said he was talking trash to about a lot of different groups of people, and even so he got to be president.
It's actually a good example of that.
Yeah, I know.
It's like the President Erdogan in Turkey is also pretty much the same. So.
Yeah.
And the guy who almost became prime minister in Netherlands, and the guy who almost became president in Austria. There's so many of this.
That's a clear example. You know about them, and there should be a lot of more people trying to even do good stuff, but they are trying to through different strategies. Different strategies that.
I mean, like outrage that generates news, and you get. Yeah, it is true that he did get a lot of free publicity just because he talked crap.
Yeah. I mean, so negativity can be a good strategy, but then again, how long term is it?
Yeah,
that's true.
So you can become really famous for being like misogynic pig or something, you flame females and so on, and you contact. I actually listened to a podcast a couple of days ago. A guy said there was between 2012 and 2013, he became really famous because what he did, he mounted from different podcasts he constructed like something which was taken out of context and looked like very inflammatory to females, and then he sent it to all the pro-female groups and so on, and they became talking about it, and then he became kind of famous misogynic guy, but he wasn't like he just did it on purpose to become famous, right? But then it stays with him, right? It's like
exactly.
I'm not really that guy, I just use it as a
That's the thing. How much do you want it to stay with you?
So I've explained that each time.
It was just a joke and blah blah blah. It's like, but but it was the same with this guy recently who posted those anti-Jewish videos, right? He actually isn't. He's an anti-Jewish, but
the guy who is in Central Park.
Yeah,
trying to speak about Jewish, that they're controlling the media and stuff. Yeah.
No, that was a
it
different
was his talk on YouTube. So he had some I'm not sure if it was on Twitch or something. He was doing some people could send in some you could do donations, and he said he would do some stuff, and then it was sort of taken out of context by the media, and it was and then cut ties with Disney, which is also kind of anti-Semitic, so it's kind of like the irony.
So it blew up, right? It was a good strategy to become famous, but then he became famous and it just blew up.
But even he was already famous enough.
I know. I mean, but I didn't know about him until this, right? Yeah. So he was famous enough, but now more people know about him. But he kind of ruined his path, right? Because Disney had deal with him, and YouTube was pulling off some videos, and it became kind of complicated.
Yeah.
But in the games area, do you know if any game has made that kind of like a strategy?
There are some games
Sure,
that
they
do
were.
do that.
I remember
Like they,
in Nintendo 64, Conker's Bad Fur Day. It was a game that was based on a game that wasn't rated R.
Mhm.
in the
No, it was a
beginning.
kids game.
It was a kids game,
Yeah.
and then they made it completely for adults. They made it like a. I remember even I wasn't 18 at that time, and they say, "No, you cannot buy this game because you must be 18 or more." And I remember wanting to buy it because I wanted to see what the game was about. But that thing, I mean, if I got motivated to buy it, how many more people? How many more kids?
Yeah, a friend of mine actually had that as well when we were kids, and I loved watching him play that game. It was so hilarious, especially a big mighty Pooh.
It's like a dark humor game, which I feel it's also been portrayed, like for example in Deadpool movies.
Yeah.
Because Deadpool, it's the darkest humor you could find right now, and it's one of the top grossing R-rated movies so far.
yeah. There definitely have been games that haven't used like just being like explicit tension.
So it is a strategy, but as I'm saying, it is most of the time just short-term boost. And
Yeah.
short-term strategy, it doesn't really work long-term. But then again, there is a lot of short-term benefits.
Yeah.
Right? So
Conker's Bad Fur Day didn't make it into a sequel, for example. So that died out almost immediately.
Yeah.
But it did have a cult following still.
It has.
Yeah. No, but there are some exceptions. For example, Deadpool is the main exception to that rule because he has a permanent following.
Yeah.
That has lasted for decades already and will probably last for decades more.
Yeah, true.
And he's got the actor that he's fit for that. He's like made for that role.
Yeah. And they actually mentioned it in the comics before the movie that they looked like Ryan Reynolds. I would like to be portrayed by Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds actually read that comic, then asked the studio if he could play him.
Yeah.
It's a weird way around.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a lot for breaking. Yeah.
All right.
For example, in technological part, like games, I think they should step up, try to be more creative. Not only on the 2D gameplay, but right now in the VR.
And VR and AR is the future.
That's like a new playground where they should just keep enhancing it.
That is true, but there are some problems. So problem is that mobile is easy. Like you take your mobile with you everywhere, and you don't really feel like wasting time, right? You can play it in a train, you can play it when you're in a bus, when you're waiting for someone, whatever, right?
VR is basically a desktop.
VR is like a desktop which actually occupies you completely. It's worse than a desktop.
Yeah,
Desktop
because it takes
and
up an entire room.
space.
Yeah. So how many people will dedicate an hour of the day only for like hardcore gamers, really?
Yeah, for students like us as well.
So it is not a mainstream thing. Like mobile gaming is mainstream. Like my mom plays mobile games, right? And she never played desktop games before. Now she also plays some desktop games and some browser games. But VR is a completely kind of different experience. So then whoever has the money and can invest in it, they have to calculate how much they can benefit from it. And because it's not the mainstream, it's actually hard to make that leap to produce this kind of a high quality content just for a niche market.
Yes, that's true.
So I think it will struggle, at least for a couple of years. But the potential is definitely there, right?
There are already some PlayStation already has its PlayStation VR. And they actually have several games. Amongst them, I only heard constantly is Resident Evil.
Okay.
But because it's a horror genre, and with the VR it enhances it, so you can just get more scared. You get really scared, and it's quite interesting to see their evolution because they started as a third-person game. There was it wasn't scary in the beginning, but then people said, "Oh, it's not so scary." Then they went into first person. And in the first person, people like the way they played the games, like the gameplay, the enhancement, the tutorials, everything. But then people also got bored about that, and now they're going into VR.
Yeah.
But VR first person, which is like even more like first person on steroids. Like it's way more.
Did you watch the series Black Mirror?
Yes.
Did you watch the last one? The season 3?
Of the piece.
The one with the chip, that it was kind of like a VR game he was playing.
The horror game.
Yeah, the horror game.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was brilliant.
That was brilliant.
Have you seen it?
I can't see.
No, and it was so interesting that it all happened in less than 1 minute.
Yeah.
It was so like it's so subjective. It was so easy.
Yeah. So the idea was that you kind of enter a VR world, but it plays with your consciousness.
Yeah.
So in the VR world, you suddenly like pulled out, but you're still in. So he thought he's out, but he was still playing in the game. But he thought he's back in the real world, and that was the scariest, like for him, because he was really afraid of something. I'm not gonna give you spoilers, but
No.
Yeah, I can. I can see the point. It's like
yeah, exactly.
experience is ever real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. All right. Step as one. Let's close for today.
Okay.